Now, what are we to do with the following discourses from the Abhyakata Samyutta? Now we're moving to the Samyutta. Okay, basically, just so you know what to expect, we'll find the same text another few times. And we're looking first at book 4 of the Samyutta Nikaya, the Salayatana Samyutta. And inside it, it's the Abhyakata Samyutta. It's the penultimate section. 2 discourses here. I mean, the last 5 discourses are all part of our theme. First, Moggallana and Vacchagotta suttas, they're called. Vacchagotta seems to have forgotten what he learned in the Majjhima, or maybe in the Majjhima, he forgot what he learned. Same thing happens. He comes up to Moggallana or the Buddha, and then in one discourse, he'll go first to the Buddha and then to Moggallana, and then he'll go to the Buddha. And in the other, he goes first to the Buddha and then goes to Moggallana, and he's like amazed that they say things exact same way. You just like, because they've mastered the formulas. So he asks if the world is eternal, the same list of questions. And here, when he gets the answer that the views have been undeclared, Abhyakata, so he asks why other teachers hold the views. And then the Buddha will replace the formula of selflessness with a simpler one. In the first discourse, he says, other renunciate teachers see, wait a minute, see the I as this is mine, this I am, this is myself. Etta mama eso hamasmi eso me attati. And then he continues, because this is part of the Salayatana, the analysis of the senses. So he goes, he's working not with the aggregates here, but with the 6 senses. He goes through the ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. But in the next discourse, he's back at the aggregates because the formula works this way. Rupam attatosa. I don't think that formula works for the senses for some reason. Other enunciate teachers see so it's the same text, exact same text. Okay. It's not because somebody remembered that that's the formula the Buddha used. It's because they replaced the formula on selflessness with another one. Other teachers see the body as the self is the owner of the self as in the body, or the body as in the self. And then he goes through the other aggregates, right? We said that. And then the next 3 discourses, we get, they're more complicated. I'm not going to enter that discussion here because I want to stick with the basic literary design that we have in the Majjhima Nikaya text. But in the 9th discourse, there's a discussion of the fire simile, and then these 2 very subtle, very beautiful discourses, 10 and especially 11, are kind of interested in the extremes, selflessness, the views, the relation between them. So we find here a literary model of Vacchagotta asking about the 10 views and receiving an answer about selflessness. Replacing the formula on selflessness with another parallel one within an accepted narrative design, this makes a new discourse, okay? So maybe there was a guy called Vacchagotta, maybe he talked a bunch of times with the Buddha about the unanswered question. That all could be. But even if this is true, the way the discourses frame their messages is through the play of formulas. So we could ask, how do these texts relate to each other? Maybe the Samyutta texts are sketches for the Majjhima Nikaya text, which is what I was thinking for a while. But I don't think so anymore in the same way. I think that they're more an exploration of this theme and adapting it to a specific context, like using applying it to the context of the senses in the book that is treating the senses. This is what discourse do. They explore, elaborate, adapt, expand upon the teachings. They expand. This is the main thing that discourse, they're always moving forward with the same materials, reshuffling them. One more example, the Vacchagotta Samyutta is the last section in the Kanda Samyutta, which is book 3 of the Samyutta Nikaya. Here we have 55 discourses that are all the same text. And Vacchagotta asked the Buddha how the 10 views came to be accepted. So the Buddha answers in the first discourse, okay? from not understanding, anyana, form, the arising of form, the cessation of form, and the path that leads to the cessation of form, rupa, okay, the first aggregate. So because of not understanding form, people get the same views, get the 10 views. And then in the next 4 discourses, he'll say from not understanding Vedana, from not understanding Sanya, from not Sankara, Vijnana, from not so we get 5 discourses that are not understanding the 5 aggregates. Then we replace in the next, and in none of these, now forget about Evame Suttam, Ekam Samayam, Bhagava was here or there, doesn't matter because it's not a discourse in that kind of way. It's just an elaboration. It's a method of elaboration. The next 50 discourses will replace, each 5 will replace not understanding, anyana, now we'll get not seeing, adasana, not realizing, anabhisamaya. The anyana is an ablative, short A. So we have 55 supposedly discourses, but they're not, different historical events. In what sense, actually, should we talk about these as really being discourses? Okay. And this is, in this case, it's a specific method of textual composition, especially applying to the Samyutta, also to the Anguttara in some respects. I haven't looked at this Anguttara enough to really, it's a mind-boggling collection. Anguttara is a whole world of its own, and we get all these interesting doctrines there and texts like say the Buddha statement about karma, that it's Chaitanya is kamma, so that's come. Of course, it would come in the Anguttara. That's where you get all this stuff. You get folkloric material. You get the numerical method of elaboration rather than it can also be thematic, but in the Samyutta it's always thematic. So these are not discourses in the sense of historical event, but in the sense that they're a legitimate elaboration. These are 55 texts that are the same text, or 11 texts that are the same text. Count it as you like. The narrative model of the Vacchagotta cycle grounds all these discourses, while the exposition of selflessness is replaced with a new formulation. This new formula fits the context of the 3rd book here, in this last case of the Samyutta, which analyzes the aggregates. And here we have the application of the formula on the 4 noble truths, or the 4 truths, or what in my first book I called the 4 observations, because they're not yet truths and they're not even noble. It's applying this method of analysis of the 4 observation, idam satyam. This is, in this case, applied to the aggregates. So we get, okay, I'll just read this. So from not understanding form, from not understanding arising of form, from not understanding cessation of form, from not understanding the path that leads to the cessation of form. This is a method of analysis in which if you take an object and you look at its arising, its cessation, and the path to its cessation. It's a formula, but if it's a formula, we're creating text, but it's a formula that, at least as I understand it, relates to meditation, to the way analytical reflection is carried out. I think in many ways the formulas could really guide a specific meditation, but they also can kind of inspire it. I don't think there's necessarily a one-to-one correspondence, but learning these formulas teaches you how to look, how to think. So formulas, doctrines, philosophical principles are here an analytical method. Of observation that interconnect. They're analytical methods of observation that interconnect.